what a typical day living in an RV looks like, this video is for you. We're gonna bring you along in just our day-to-day activities because living in an RV is nothing like living in a home. But right now, Daniel's still asleep. And I like to start my day with a workout. Let's do this. Now that I got that quick ab work out of the way, it's time for a short run. Because in the very near future, I've got marathon training to start because I'm gonna be running the Chicago Marathon this year. Whew, that was good. Now it's time for tea. And look who's awake.
Hey, off to an early start this morning. Technically not earlier than Lauren, but early for me.
Ta-da! Bed made for the day. One thing you'll notice about RV life is the fewer things you have, the better. So even though this is a normal cooking pot, I use it to make my tea every morning. I'm constantly guessing and getting this wrong as to how much water I need. Also, another thing about RV life is that you get really good at putting things away when you use them because living in 250 square feet, if you don't, it becomes a disaster in here fast. Got close that time, winning.
Usually, by the time Lauren's making her tea, I'm ready for coffee. Round 2. Now, we've had coffee all over the world, and I would somewhat consider myself a coffee aficionado. I always order my own coffee and have it shipped. This comes from across the river out of Florida. They truly have the best beans. Well, I'm no barista, but I'm constantly trying to make some art, and it never seems to work out. I just can't ever get the froth right, but it still tastes good.
If you've been following very many people who live RV life, you've probably heard one or two of them complain about the fact that it's a little more difficult to book campsites lately than it has been in the past. One of the ways we get around that is sometimes if we want to stay an extended period of time, like we wanted to stay here a week in Joshua Tree, that means you gotta move sites, which is pretty inconvenient and kind of sucks, but it allows you to stay where you want to stay. That's gonna be part of our RV life today is moving the Airstream, like maybe 200 feet. For Daniel to be able to disconnect the water, which is a requirement for us to move, I have to do dishes. And this is one of the things that's really different than living in a house because, well, you don't have a dishwasher. To be honest with you, I've never even heard of an RV that does. I'm sure it's out there, but kind of rare. So hand washing dishes, kind of a requirement. Now that I'm done with the dishes, it's time to go scout our new site.
Even though we're only moving a few spots over, there's a huge advantage to this other spot. It has a sewer hookup. Another thing I'll typically do is I'll walk over to the spot before I ever move the rig in place because I want to see how level it is. And ideally what you're looking for is the most level surface on the spot. Another consideration I'm looking at when I'm looking at these spots are where the hookups are. You may be close enough to hook up all of your hoses, but in other instances, we found that the sewer hose was almost 20 feet away. So you have to be very, very careful about where everything is placed. I've got the power tower here, and what I'll typically do is I'll make sure that the breakers are all off. Looks good. The next thing I'll do is make sure that the water supply in fact works. And I've now located my sewer hookup here, which is in close proximity to the power station, which is really, really nice. I won't touch that without gloves. Now that I've surveyed the spot, I know we're good to go. I'm gonna walk back to the camper, disconnect my water and my power. I'm gonna take the surge protector and then bring it to the new power tower to make sure there are no issues. Good news, I've checked the power supply, no errors whatsoever. So next step is just to move the RV. All right, I'm just gonna lift the stabilizers off the ground, and then at that point, I'll be ready to hook up the truck. And I've said this time and time again, the very first thing you do is set your chocks up.
For all of our Lois and Clark fans, that's the names of our flamingos. We were planning on putting them out because we're getting settled in. Sadly, this is why they don't get to hang out for every video. Moving the RV is not exactly a clean job. So, thankfully, now that I'm done, it's time to get a shower. But to do that, you gotta wait in RV life. Let me show you why. Unlike in your home where your hot water is just simply hot by turning on the faucet, we actually turn on our hot water heater. I'm gonna go in here and do just that because it takes approximately 15 minutes to be ready. So I figure in the time that the water heats up, I can make us lunch and then I'll be able to finally get that shower. Sadly, this is the very last of our local green chili from Santa Fe, and we are gonna have to go back soon because we're addicted to this stuff. And it's pretty much the perfect topping for a Mexican salad. Now that we've had a delicious lunch, I'm gonna check to make sure the water is hot enough, and then I'll get to get a shower. Yes. Shower success. But I've got a lot of work to get done today, so I'm not gonna worry about doing my whole thing that I would have normally done back home. So, time to get back to work. On a day like today, we're in the middle of the day, we had to lose some of our normal work time to do RV stuff. That means we're gonna be working later into the evening. But while we do that, I typically will get started with making dinner. And tonight, I am making lemony asparagus stir fry over rice, which is part of my Forks Over Knives app, which I freaking love. So, gotta start making rice, which takes approximately 30 to 45 minutes. So I'm gonna let that sit while we keep working. Hey Google, can you set a timer for 30 minutes?
30 minutes, and we're starting now.
We really do love having our Google Homes in the RV. Super helpful for stuff like that. All right, rice is done. One of the things that I think really helps me from an RV cooking perspective, and really cooking in general, is I always make a little bit more of the staples than what the recipe calls. So I doubled the rice so that we can easily eat this as another base for another meal. You'll also notice that some of my ingredients are already prepped. I like to do that on the weekends to make it easier to cook during the week, but I didn't get to the red pepper this time. Now for making the stir fry. You'll probably notice that I didn't put any olive oil or anything in the pan. It's kind of one of our things around here when I cook, is I don't use any oil. Mostly because it doesn't have a whole lot of nutritional value and it's easy to skip for calories. So how do I make it not stick? Honestly, it doesn't really stick that bad. But if it does start to, then I just add a little bit of water.
That's fine.
Dinner is served.
After dinner, we typically go for a walk, and it's kind of a perfect time to take out the trash while we're at it. All right, here's a pro RV courtesy tip. Never walk through an occupied RV spot. If somebody's there, give them their due space. Find an empty one if you have to, or just take the long way.
The park we're staying at is called Joshua Tree Lake RV Park, and it's family owned, but we particularly enjoy our evening walks here because, well, they've got a little lake in the middle of the desert. And I mean, who does not love baby ducks? That is just insane level cute.
Oh, one's still back there.
One's stuck.
Oh, I was like, where are you?
I also love seeing the unique desert flora. We don't see this anywhere, and it's beautiful. Now that we got a little bit of pickup done, put on some pajamas, it's time to just relax.
One of the really cool things I did is that typically the sound just comes from the TV, but thanks to the help of somebody in one of our classic Airstream groups, they figured out a way to run a digital optical cable from the TV to the surround sound system. So it's that much better now. Oh yeah. While Airstream Classic comes with a Blu-ray player, I hooked it up to the Apple TV instead.
And we end the day pretty much like we begin it, with tea. But this time, it's mint.
All right. Business. Not every day is an exciting adventure where we're jumping off of buildings. Some days, we're just getting work done, cleaning up around the house, and preparing for the following day.
But until next week, make sure you wander local. It's good for the soul. Hey Google, can you set an alarm for 5 a.m. tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 5 a.m. Set.